How to live free using a NACA loan. Welcome back to the channel. This is Matt Garland, NMLS number 58700, better known as MG the Mortgage Guy. You already know the vibes. We are live. We are blessed. Thank God for another day. And make sure while you guys are walking into this video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that bell for notifications because you know we got new videos coming to y'all. I didn't hear the bell, Tooks. It went?
Yeah, sounds up, yeah.
Tragedy. Right, but make sure you hit the bell for notifications. You already know what to do. Go to mgbookstore.com, get the books. People, don't play yourself. Now look, you know I got the Ultimate Home Buyers webinar happening on March 11th and March 12th, all right? Go to mgbookstore.com. If you don't have the books, get the webinar and then use the offer for the books because each book sells for $30 on its own. But right now you can get both of the books for $44, plus get the webinar for March 11th and March 12th, which is only $19.90. $19.99, it's almost free. So go ahead and get it. All right, drop some gems in the comments because we got a special guest today. Make some noise for my guy, Drae, my man Renaissance 125.
What up, my guy?
The NACA King himself. He is in the building. Parental discretion is advised. Matter of fact, Drae, hold on. You can't curse so much because my channel's monetized.
I've been working on that.
Okay?
I've been working on it.
We got to watch your mouth.
We doing better.
Okay? Because, you know, we don't want the YouTube folks to say add suitability is in question.
Respect.
Because they're going to say, yo, you can't monetize. And we got Andre Hatchett in the chat already talking about heat up on these fools with the super chat. Shout out to Andre Hatchett, the legend himself. All right. And also, I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. And why is my daughter always cash apping me for money? Like every week, I'm sorry, I just got the notification.
Me
Brooke,
too.
she's always cash apping me for money. Like I just got a request, and it's her asking me for money as usual. All my parents can feel me right now. All right, so I'm gonna put the link. I'm gonna put the link in the chat right now. I'm gonna pin it. Shout out to Tanisha. Appreciate you.
Tanisha.
Tanisha. Why do I say Tanisha?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's Tanisha.
Tanisha. My
Yes.
bad, Queen. You know I love you. I one and only moderator, Tanisha. I just pinned her comment. Make sure you guys go ahead and get the webinar. Get it right now. All right. We got my man Drae. We got Tooks in the building. Tooks Productions. How are you today, sir?
Alive and blessed. Sounds familiar, right?
Alive and blessed. Thank God for another day. Thank God for another day. So, all right, you like to have these type of conversations about house hacking, and because you're in your learning stage, you're about to buy your first house, you know, and you have a lot of questions. So, Drae was in the building. He was in New York. I said, Drae, pull up. He's here. Ask your questions, Playboy.
All right. So, first question is going to be, what is a NACA loan? Very basic. Very basic.
NACA loan is a loan funded by Bank of America through Neighborhood Assistance Corporations of America, which is what NACA stands for. And a NACA loan is a loan that gives you a loan depending on the property type up to a certain amount of money. Like 4 units, you get a certain amount of money. Max 3 units, you get a max 2 units, down to single family homes or whatever the case may be. But they give you these loans with no money down, no closing costs, the lowest interest rates in the country. In addition to the lowest interest rates in the country, you have the option to buy it down lower. And they give you the lowest interest rate in the country regardless of what your credit score is. So they don't necessarily go off your credit score, they go off your credit profile. You know what I mean? Like, you know, your rent history, things like that. Make sure you don't have any negatives in collections, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's a really, really great program for people who are just now getting started, who may have low income, don't have the best credit or whatever the case may be. And it's not only for those kind of people, but it works best for those people. So
for first-time home buyers, this can be a product they can use.
Oh man, a product they can use to not just buy a single family home, but a multi-family home up to 4 units, and even do a mixed use, whereas you can have a storefront and apartments and a storefront. Like if you have a business, a barber shop, a clothing brand, a beauty salon, any of that kind of stuff, you can actually use it to go and get you a storefront for your business and a place to live, and still be able to rent out some of the units.
Okay, so you just answered all my questions in that short sentence. So we gotta hold on. So let's just go through the qualifications for this. I know you mentioned that already, but I kind of want to have it where it's like, you know, you can go through this and kind of have it in sections. So qualifications for NACA loan are what exactly?
All right, 2 years tax history,
2 years tax
2
history.
years work history, of course, bank statements. I think the minimum credit score that they require, it didn't used to be a thing, but now I think it's like 620, I believe.
620?
Yeah, I believe it's
Okay.
620 at this point. In addition to that, yeah, I think that's it, man. Like the standard to qualify for a mortgage with anybody, use the same stuff you got to do with them.
And when it comes to employment, you have to be 2 years,
2 years
same
at the
W-2,
same job,
W-2
yeah.
stuff.
So if it's not at the same company, they will be okay with you transitioning in the same field,
Right,
for
okay.
more pay. You know what I mean? If they see that you transition to get a higher pay grade,
Right.
they're fine with that. But if you just switch jobs and you went to a whole nother, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
field and all that stuff, they'll start it over from where you started your new job at.
Okay, so then how much money do you need down for to buy a house with a NACA loan?
Well, you don't need anything as a down payment, but
Okay.
I tend to tell people to save up about 3.5% of the cost of the property that you're looking for, because you are going to have certain things that you have to pay for, at the closing table, your
Right.
taxes, your insurance, things like that. And also NACA wants you to have what's called a payment shock, or a significant amount of money saved up for a cushion. So when you do close on your property, they don't want you to be house rich and cash poor.
poor,
And
right.
MG talks about that all the time, because a lot of times when you go through different programs and different lenders, you'll spend all of the money that you saved up on fees, closing costs, and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have this house or property or whatever the case may be, and then as soon as something goes wrong, now you upside down, can't get it fixed, you messed up because you don't have the cash to take care of it, you haven't established business credit, just any of these kind of things, to whereas you can kind of make sure that you're going to be okay regardless of what, circumstances may arise. And NACA sets you up to be able to handle all of those situations. So yeah, they don't require you to put a down payment or any of that stuff, but they do require you to save up a cushion to make sure that you're protected, on the back end after you do close.
So with that cushion of money saved up total, how much did you have just to be prepared?
So on my first deal, I started off with 10, and as I went through the process, they still require you to save money. You just
Yeah.
don't stop there. You still are required to show that you're saving the same amount of money every month.
Oh,
So by
okay.
the time I closed, I ended up with $15,000 in my account, but I didn't use any of it. I
Right.
actually walked away from the closing table with money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kept all of my money, and they gave me some money.
Well, all right. So yeah, I'll ask that later. Get some more information about that. Okay. So now, what do the interest rates look like with these kind of loans?
So with NACA, they guarantee you a lower than the national average interest rate, regardless of what your credit score is, which is one of the major benefits to the program. Because if you know anything about interest rates can drastically drive up the cost of your mortgage, your monthly payment, and
Right.
just extra money that you're paying over time to the bank, all of those things. And NACA really tries to set you up, like I said, to whereas you're well off to the point where they give you the lowest interest rate to get your mortgage payment down,
Yeah.
where you will always be able to afford this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
All
so
right.
for me, on my first one, I got a 2.5% interest rate. Then on the second one, it's a 0.8% interest rate, which is essentially free. So on the second one, I just made a video about this on my page. I gave NACA $70,000 up front to buy my interest rate down, but that $70,000, it saved me $400,000 over the life of the loan.
Wow.
Yeah. So like that would have been an extra $400,000 that I just would have been giving to
Yeah.
the bank in interest.
Right.
Which now I can, comes back into my pocket. I can reinvest, go buy more property, etc. And two, it made my mortgage way more than affordable and allowed me to cash flow on this property as well. So not only did it get my interest rate down, but it got my mortgage payment down. It kept my rents high, and it generated, cash flow, because that's money that I'm not necessarily paying to the bank, and that's just coming back to me.
So when you do this kind of loan, does it have to be like a primary residence, or can it be an
Definitely gotta
investment?
a primary residence. So NACA requires you to live in the property for at least the first 5 years, and they even have a lien on the property of $25,000. But every year that you live in the property, $5,000 of that drops off. So after the 5th year, you can kind of like go refinance, do whatever it is that you want to do to kind of like, move on with your investment journey.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't do it to become an investor. Some people do it just to, have a free place to
Have a free
live, or
place to
whatever the
live.
case may be. But me personally, I want to do it, Like, so I've been in my first one for 8 years. The second one has been 5 years. So now I can go and do whatever I want to do with either one of those properties and the equity in those properties. But as me and Matt talked about previously, I had issues because I wasn't filing my taxes the right way. So I'm just now able to go and pull the equity out of my properties to go and reinvest into more buy and holds and different things like that. So that's another thing. Like NACA makes sure that you're buying into equity. You're not like upside down. They won't let you do a bad deal. They won't allow it.
Right. So this is not, you can't use, this is not like an LLC situation. It has to be personal.
Nah. So, but the thing is, this is what I did. After I closed, I set up a business structure for it. You know,
Right.
I do have an incorporation for both of my properties or whatever the case may be, because I operate and run it like a business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't buy it in your LLC, but you operate it as such.
And is there any type of property that you can't get with this kind of loan?
I mean, yeah, commercial.
Just commercial?
Yeah, you can do mixed use. Like I say, anything residential up to 4 units is allowed with NACA.
Okay. And what about the loan terms for this?
30-year fixed.
30-year fixed?
And it's crazy because people think that it's like some type of special. It's a conventional loan.
Right.
NACA conventional loan.
Okay. Matt's looking at me. He like wants to
No,
jump.
no,
He
no.
wants to
You
jump
do,
in.
you do,
Okay.
do you.
All right. So,
Learn, brother, learn.
all right. So, one of the biggest things with this kind of loan is that I always hear about this is how long it takes and how tedious it is. So, what can you do to be prepared to make this this process easier for you?
Have your documents all the way in order, and be ready to stand up and fight for what's yours. Because at the end of the day, these people, it's not their job to do you any favors. You know what I mean? They
Right.
just there to kind of execute. What they supposed to do to get you your loan approved. So anything as far as you following up, maybe resending documents, all of those are things that you're gonna have to do. And like, get out your feelings, because a lot of times, like when I first started with NACA, like I would be in my feelings, like, man, I sent y'all those documents already. Why y'all asking me for this again? It's just a part of the mortgage process. Like,
Right.
if you understand how the mortgage process works, if you understand how home buying works, if you just understand how dealing with big money works, it's not just ever a quick process.
Right.
It won't ever be that. So more than anything, you have to have your documents in order. Like I say, your tax documents, your check stubs, your bank statements, and these things have to be turned in on time to them when they require them.
Right.
A lot of times that's what holds people up. And not to just blame everything on the person, because sometimes it's NACA. Mind you, these people are understaffed and way overworked. And like I tell people all the time, I'm doing all of these shows, stages, platforms, screaming from the mountaintops, go get a NACA property, y'all, go get a NACA property. So now there's an influx in the NACA program of people trying to get properties, and they're not hiring more people, mind you, because they're a non-for-profit. So they don't have a big budget to go out and just hire a bunch of people, etc. So if you can be patient, you can be successful. But if you're trying to move in the next 3 months, I wouldn't suggest you going through the NACA program, because all it's going to do is frustrate you. And a lot of times when people are going through these processes, they operate in their feelings. And
Right.
you can't do that. You have to be a logical person when it comes to this stuff. Like, and you have to also put like entitlement and selfishness to the side. It doesn't work on your time or when you want it to. Like, man, once everything is cleared through the bank, through the underwriter, that's when things will go. But until then, understand patience, understand this is a process, understand I'm going to do everything that I need to do in order to make this work, and then I'm going to leave the rest up to God. But because outside of that, what else can you do?
Right.
You're going to be mad. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be angry. Like, you're going to be in your feelings all the time because things ain't going how you want it to go, and that's just not how this stuff goes.
So you said 3 months, right? You shouldn't, like, probably
Man,
shouldn't
3
have it timed
months,
out.
6 months, man. And it can happen in that time frame, but I just wouldn't have expectations for it to happen.
Right.
I'm putting 9 months to a year.
9 months
That's
to
what
a
I
year
would
for
tell
NACA
everybody.
loan.
9 months to a year. If you get it before then, you did great. But the standard is going to be 9 months to a year for sure. And that's not just NACA, because you have to factor in the searching process. You know, you get a property under contract, you got to go through the inspection, the appraisal. All that stuff takes time. In addition to that, you're not going to get a contract on the first property you make an offer on most times. You know what I mean? So you're going to go through the searching process, offering, getting denied, like
Right.
getting outbid by cash buyers. There's a whole process to this stuff that people really don't understand. That's why I'm saying remove your emotion from it, because you'll get so caught up in the aesthetics, like, oh my God, I love the house. That's my dream house. Now somebody with $1 million cash just swooped in and like took it right from under you, and you mad because you feel like, oh, well, they did this to me. Like, nobody did anything to you. That's just the nature of the business.
Right.
And most times people don't understand that.
So is there any limits to how much money you can, like how much the house can be with this kind of loan also?
No, not really. It just depends on the area and the neighborhood. So like in a place like New York, I think y'all got a limit on 4 units of like $1.5 million. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can go pretty high. It just depends on the property type. Single family homes are way less. You probably get $300,000 or $400,000 for a single family home. You might get 500 for a 2-unit. You might get 700 for a 3-unit. That's why I tell people, like, man, max out. Go with a 4-unit, because they don't only qualify, and you get scared because, like, I can't afford a $1 million mortgage. Like, you can, because the way lenders qualify you is not the same way they qualify you for a single-family home that they do for a multi-unit.
Right.
And when you do go for a multi-unit, go and find you something where the property is already generating income, because what will happen is the lender's going to take 75% of the income that the property is already generating, add it to your money, which will then make the property more than affordable. And the best example I like to give, and I give this same example all the time.
Yeah.
So let's say you make $2,000 a month at your job, right?
Okay.
And the mortgage on the property that you're looking at, it's a 4-unit. It's $3,000. No way you could afford it. You're $1,000 short on top of having to pay expenses like bills, gas bills, all that stuff, right? But let's say the property is generating $4,000 a month in rents. So the lender will take 75% of that, which is $3,000,
Okay.
add it to your $2,000. So now you're making $5,000 a month with the $3,000 mortgage, which leaves $2,000 left over. That's more than affordable for you.
Oh, so what they're doing is taking the money that you're going to make technically when you purchase the house.
Just a portion of it. You still
Portion
have
of it,
25% that they're not even factoring in.
Right. That's crazy.
And most people don't know this, which is why they think they can't afford a multifamily, because their thinking is based on their money alone. And it is if you go and get one that's empty.
Right.
But the cheat code is going to find something that's already cash flowing. You know how many older landlords or people out here who are trying to get rid of properties, they're tired of them, people are going through divorce, they just want to get rid of their property just so they can, you know, get out of this situation. Like, there are a ton of those situations going on. But again, you just have to be patient. Like, everything is about patience.
Right.
Like, most times people end up in a situation that they look back on, regret, have buyer's remorse and all those things because they didn't exercise patience. They didn't wait for, like, what God really had for them. They were so anxious and wanting to be, you know, flicking it up for the gram. Like, I just bought a property, y'all. It's just like, honestly, you just missed your blessing because you were rushing. You know what I mean? But if you actually patient and you can understand how to run the play the right way, you can really set yourself up. Because, bro, in 3 years, from 2015 to 2018, I accumulated $1.5 million worth of assets through the NACA program. Cash flow, was able to not have to go back to the workforce, started businesses, a clothing brand, book. I'm an author, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm speaking on every stage, every podcast. It's just like, bro, like, just one property can do that for you if you do it the right way and not get so caught up in image, but just focus on numbers and actual cash flow and the things that make sense to your bottom line. Most people don't do that, though. They're so caught up in image.
Right, right. And is there any type of insurance, PMI with this?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the sweet part about it. Like, you don't have any of those excess fees. So what I tell people all the time, closing costs typically add up when you factor in your down payment, your agent fee, your attorney fee, your origination fee, your PMI, probably somewhere on the high end, 10, 12%, roughly, Matt.
Right, for what, PMI?
No, just overall fees in general.
Oh, probably like 6%.
Yeah, so overall fees, once you factor in your down payment fee, most times 3.5%.
Right.
You got your origination fee, your agent gonna get a fee. Like, all of these fees add up in money that you're gonna have to pay out at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, if you can avoid those, that's how I was able to, like, at the end of everything, I had a bag because I didn't have to pay all of those fees. Most times you're paying that out.
Right.
You know, in down payment, you're paying it out to an attorney, you're paying it out to an agent, you're paying it out to the lender who's originating your, because they got to get paid off your shit too. Like, just everybody got to get their money, and NACA kind of like takes care of that for you.
So there was this video that you were talking about earlier, that you walked away from the closing table with a $5,000 check, and you kept your $15,000 down, right? So how were you able to do that?
Because, like I said, the program doesn't have a down payment requirement, so there's no down payment.
Right.
In addition to that, you can get what's called a seller concession when you are purchasing a property. So you can pretty much ask the seller for money, you know what I mean, at the closing table to help you with closing costs. Me, I didn't have any closing costs. My agent knew I didn't have any closing costs, so we were just going to use the money to buy the interest rate down. So we asked for a $15,000 closing credit. We used $10,000 to buy the interest rate down, and then there was $5,000 left, and that $5,000 came back to me. NACA doesn't allow this anymore for you to walk away with cash on the table anymore, but that particular deal, I was able to at the time because, like I say, they had gave all of this excess money. It was like, all right, cool, where the extra money go? It goes to the buyer because that's who they gave it to.
Is there any other fees associated with this at all that anybody should know about?
NACA has a membership fee it's like $30-$40 a month or something like that as
Okay.
you're going through the process. But honestly, I can't remember paying that fee like that. And then once I closed, I never dealt with NACA again. My relationship is between me and Bank of America because that's who has my mortgage. So I
Right.
send them my money. If anything going on with my mortgage, that's who I reach out to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't really communicate with NACA unless it's like for me to be like, you know, doing something social media wise or, you know what I mean, something like that. If I want to collaborate with them, but outside of that, like, I'm not communicating with them about my mortgage or like any my property anymore.
Okay, so a lot of good information there. Answered all my questions.
Sure.
Now the real question is, how are you able to go from one home with this loan to multiple, or even be able to live rent free in your situation?
Okay, so in my situation, I was already living rent free because it cash flowed enough to where it's like my portion of the, or what. So the property was generating enough money to cover the mortgage and the bills, and there was
Okay.
still money left over, pretty much, with me living there. And over time, it's been 8 years. I've increased the rents over time constantly. In 8 years, I done probably gave myself probably a $3,000 raise. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So it's like, but also over time, you know, taxes and insurance go up too, so that kind of eats away at that. So like I said, initially when I first got the property, I was cash flowing probably $500 or $600 a month. Now I'm cash flowing $1,700 a month. I made improvements to the property. Like I say, I've gone up on the rents because of the improvements to the property, and also because of inflation and things like that. So it allows me to live for free and cash flow because I have these fixed low interest rates, and I bought at a great time at a great price.
So you have multiple properties, or just this
Yeah,
one?
so the second one, I took my girl back, the whole divide and conquer thing again. Y'all hear Matt talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
And we got a second one. And with this one, I really milked the program because I knew how to qualify for bigger loans. And, you know, I found out that they will max you out at $950,000, depending on if it's a 4-unit. And in Chicago, $950,000 can get you in a really, really nice neighborhood. So I was able to purchase in a neighborhood called Bucktown, Wicker Park, which is probably one of the top 3 neighborhoods in the city right now.
Okay.
And with this one, I purchased it in a gentrifying neighborhood called Humble Park. It used to be like a very like strong Puerto Rican neighborhood, but like I said, it's gentrifying. So the person who sold us the property was an older Puerto Rican guy, but he was also a developer, and he was the person who kind of like built the place up. He bought it for dirt cheap, fixed it up, made it really nice, and it's a 4-unit, but one of the units is a house. So there's a 3-unit building in the front, and then there's a house, and it's not a regular coach house. Y'all call them ADUs out here. He laid it out, like I say, 12-foot coffered ceilings, like floating stairs, cherry oak floors, just like he like went crazy with the finishes. This is why I'm able to do so well with Peer Space, because of the house, right? And he wanted to do a deal with us, like I said, because so many like, you know, white investors and people were coming in lowballing him, and he just didn't like the numbers that they were offering him. So when a young black couple came in, he's like, I will give y'all whatever y'all want to get this deal closed, because I did really well. I bought this property when it was dirt cheap, you know what I mean? And now it's skyrocketed in value because the neighborhood has changed. So I'm able to give y'all whatever y'all want. So we told him we needed $40,000 in seller's concessions. He was like, say less. So he gave us that. I pulled money that I had out of the stock market and had savings. She had her down payment, and we worked the play. Bought the interest rate down from 3.5% to 0.8%. Bought some of the principal down, which made the mortgage way more than affordable, which also allowed us to cash flow off the 3 units again. And with that one, I'm not able to be on the mortgage because you can't go through NACA twice, right?
Right.
But again, there are legal ways that you can become an owner. After we closed, we went to an attorney and we added my name to the deed as a quitclaim deed, just so in case anything were to happen to her, God forbid, the property will go to me as opposed to her mom, sister, dad, and closest relative, because I'm the person who essentially helped pay for the property.
Right.
So legally, it's a 50-50 split. We got an LLC, that's a 50-50 split. So that's how that worked.
So now, if you get this, so technically, since you said it takes a while with this, in my head, I'm thinking, if you use a NACA loan, it's not technically supposed to be an investment property, right?
No.
But
so you can't say it's an investment property in terms when you're talking to them, but essentially that's what it is. If it's making money, like,
that's what I'm
what
saying.
Like, it's a multi-unit that's making money, like, but you can't say that to the bank, like, I have an investment property, because that's not what it's designed to be or to be used for.
Right.
But to us, that's what it is, because we know we're investors. You know what I mean? I'm just going to use this to go invest more and buy more property.
But what if you wanted to use that property for, you know, to do a peer space or something like that?
I mean, what's stopping you?
That's what I'm saying. So you technically could wait. You could
do it.
You're right. So if you're not a first time home buyer and you want to use NACA, you can use it to have that sort of as an investment property. If you wanna.
So what you have to do if you own a property already, you would either have to sell your property, move it out of your name to a business entity or something like that, because like NACA has to be your primary residence.
Got you. Okay.
And how you become an investor after you utilize the NACA program, you use the NACA program to go get you the biggest, nicest, best house you can find with these low rates, all that kind of stuff. Live there.
Yeah.
Take the money that you just saved. Mind you, I told you I walked away with $26,000 cash.
Right.
Start your investment journey there. Live there and just go invest. Like, I don't see why that's so hard for people. People, like I say, everybody want to move so fast. That, I want to move out of the property, then I want to flip it, I want to do this. It's like, bro, chill, learn the process first. Like, y'all be trying to, like, run before y'all, like, actually crawl and walk, and it just don't make sense because you don't even know how any of this stuff works for real most times.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he'd be like, yeah, I'm going to do a refinance. I'm like, bro, do you realize you have to qualify for that? You know, like, they just not going to give you, you know, money that's in the house because you say, yeah, that's my money. Like, no, you have to qualify for that because at some point you have to pay that back.
Right.
On top of your mortgage that you have to pay back.
Yeah.
And people don't know this stuff or like just really know, again, how mortgages or any of these things work. So they get caught up with the internet terms and seeing the little 30-second clips and thinking like they know some shit when the whole time it's like, bro, there's a whole process to this that you have no idea about. And you can't learn it by watching 30-second clips all day. That's
a clip, though, what you just said.
That was definitely a clip.
That's a clip.
That was definitely a clip. I ain't going to hold you up.
That's a fact. So yeah, I mean, he pretty much answered all my questions. I know Matt has probably more advanced questions. No,
I really don't. I think he said a lot. You know what I'm saying?
We done talked about this shit so many times.
I mean,
like,
I'm just saying.
I know.
Like, I mean, guys, what else you want us to say about this shit? But I think the key points that he was saying is, one, patience.
Patience, yeah.
Right? Because I see people in the comments like, oh, it takes forever. Like, what are you rushing for? If you can get, my man said he has a 0.8% interest rate.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild.
What are you rushing for? like, and I tell people this all the time. First of all, I do not originate NACA loans. I have no benefit of doing this type of content.
Wait, so where do we go to get, where can you
NACA.
Go to?
Yeah, NACA.com.
You have to go through their process. Go to NACA. You got to go to their meetings. You got to go through their process. It's painful.
Yeah, okay.
Right? If you don't have the right expectations. If you know you're going to submit your documents 100 times and your counselor might not pick up, like, you got to understand how many people they're working with, too, at the same time. And I think people don't really understand that. They think they're the only person. Right? Even if you call my team sometimes, hell, you might not get us.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I try to tell people this all the time.
We're busy.
Man. I'll be like,
I'm sorry. We try our best.
And I love that you said that because it's like people think it's just NACA. It's like, no, this is the mortgage process. Like, you're a first-time home buyer, so you don't know shit out the gate. You don't know nothing.
Yeah.
So to assume that they slower than that, how you know?
Yeah.
Because it's hearsay. You're basing everything off of hearsay stuff that you see on the internet. But whole time, regardless of what lender you go through, this is the process. It's going to take time. If your documents ain't in order, if you have trust issues with people going through your bank account, like it's going to be a headache for you.
This is going to be a headache.
Like, it's going to be a headache.
It's going to be a big-ass headache. Look, the mortgage process is not a streamlined, friendly process per se.
Regardless of who you go through.
No matter what lender you go through, no matter what loan officer you work with, it's a process because it's not automated to a certain extent, because even with technology today, you can upload documents, do online loan applications. I mean, that's helped a lot. Hell, when I first came in this business, we were doing handwritten 1003s, like literally.
When you guys say documents, though, what documents are you talking about specifically?
Your W-2s, your tax returns, pay stubs.
And like, you have to update that every
time they come out, man, because they got to make sure that everything that you saying is lining up and being consistent with what you're saying. Because at the end of the day, man, like I said, you're essentially asking somebody to borrow hundreds of thousands up to millions of dollars from them, and you trying to say you don't want to be transparent? Like, what? Like, why? What?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, you can't go borrow this money from your mama, your daddy, your auntie. This is the only place you can go get this money from, and you want to give these people a problem.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too, right? First of all, it's I think it has a lot to do with entitlement sometimes, and maybe that's the wrong word. I don't know.
No, that's the right
No,
word.
that's-
You
I think
speaking
that's
on
the
Sometimes folks just come into this situation like, yo, I got a 780 credit score, this, that, and the third. I feel like my eyelashes in my eye. But like they come in and like, yo, I got this credit score, I got this job.
I should be good.
Yeah. And
Why
it's
should be
like,
priority? And it's just
Yeah.
like, you know how many people got these same numbers? on their fucking-
like
Like,
it'd
what
be
you
like,
talking
all
about?
right, cool, that's nice. Yeah, 7 is cute,
Yeah.
right? But it's a process, no matter who you go through. And I think the first step is setting your expectations correctly when you're trying to go through the loan process, right? Expectations have to be set. And this is why we speak about NACA and all these programs kind of repetitively now, is because we have new audience people who come, they want to learn this information. So we want to continue to feed our audience, but we're also trying to train you for when you go through this process, yo, have patience. Like Drae said, if you're trying to buy a house within the next 6 months and you need to
Yeah.
close fast, NACA's probably not for you,
Nope.
right? It's just probably not. It's a year, period. Now, that's just to get NACA approved. Once you get NACA approved in 6 to 12 months, then you have to go out and shop and find the house.
Also, it doesn't work the. Oh, it can't work the other way around.
No, because basically when you're going through the NACA process, you're going through their pre-approval process. And their pre-approval is not like if you come to me, you want to do an FHA conventional VA loan, and I say, give me all your income documents, and we review everything, and literally within 24 hours or 15 minutes, depending on how busy we are, we can give you a letter and say, hey, go shop for a home,
Yeah.
right? A NACA is, first of all, it's a non-for-profit organization. It has government subsidies. That's why they're able to offer these type of loans, because they're getting a lot of government backed stuff.
Yep.
And then you have the bank that they use is Bank of America, right? So Bank of America is actually the people who are going to underwrite you once you get a contract. But NACA has to make sure that you are vetted properly before you even get to that point. And that process is going through their meetings and going through the system. And that's where it can get strenuous, because you also have to realize, too, the people that's working for NACA, and no disrespect,
Keep it a buck.
I just want to be respectful, right? They're not training they're not loan officers. They're not licensed professionals like myself. These are people who are probably making minimum wage or a little bit above.
Facts.
Think about your typical Walmart worker, your typical Target worker, you know, someone you'll see in a department store, right? That's helping you.
Yeah.
How many times have anybody been in one of these stores and you ask for help and no one helps you?
No clue. Yeah,
Or they have
Plenty
no
of
clue.
times.
Yeah,
Right?
It's like they hiring like pretty much just 9 to 5 workers, and
Exactly.
their job is to just put your documents through to the underwriter. Like, and the
Yeah.
underwriter is the person who approves you and makes decisions. Essentially, they're just paper pushers. No
Basically,
disrespect.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, some are knowledgeable and different things, but a lot of times they don't own property themselves.
Right.
They've
Right.
never done a deal. They're not familiar with the whole real estate process. They just know how to submit paperwork and documents.
To the program
To the
itself.
program itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, again, they're not me. They're not an MG the mortgage guy. You come to me, I'm well versed in pretty much any loan program under the blue sun, because this is my craft. Someone who's working there, that's probably a means to an end.
That's it.
Right now, you have people who make a career out of it and everything. They move up. Great, congratulations to them, right? But a lot of people who work into these type of things, they're not taking their job seriously. Let's just call it spade.
they're
a
not
spade.
real estate
Even think about the people who are working in the everyday department stores that we all go into, the local supermarkets and this, that,
Going
and
for a
third.
check.
That's a check.
That's it.
I hate being here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but I have no choice, because this is probably the only employment that is available for me based off of where I am right now in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you go to these meetings, you have to have that in mind and also give grace.
Yep.
It's okay to give people grace in life. Like, if you just got to be conscious of this. And the more grace you give to people, the more grace will come back to you. You know, you catch more bees with honey than shit.
So what Matt's saying is, don't be in there cussing out the mortgage counselors and all that because things not going your way or things not going as fast as you like. Don't be sending no nasty emails and none of that, because at the end of the day, all it's gonna do is make them not want to work with you.
Think about at your job, right? You got to have email etiquette.
Yeah.
Right?
Etiquette, yeah.
I fucking used to go crazy on emails, like super savage, like you know, my tone is coming through.
Sounds like me, yeah.
I'm aggressive, right? But once I had to realize, like, wait a minute, I don't know how these people are receiving this, even with a text message, right? Sometimes I gotta delete the text message because it might come off like I'm like being aggressive when I'm really not.
Yeah.
Right? Because people receive things differently. So if you're going through this program, give the people grace, man. Give them the honey. If you give them the shit, you ain't gonna catch the bee. You give them the honey, you're gonna catch the bee, because ultimately that person across the desk could be one of your family members too. And also, they might be able to push your process through a little faster and smoother.
Yeah.
Because you're being nice to them when everybody else is being an asshole or a dickhead to them all day long. So you got to think about what they're going through. These NACA meetings, if you ever go to one, y'all, there'll be hundreds of people there. You might think you at Invest Fest, but no, this is NACA. And they're all there for free money.
Facts.
Right? So think about the 15, 20 counselors that they may have on staff that day, and you got 300 people that they got to sit there all day long and deal with. Right? It's painful for them too. So that's why I tell people, look, when you're going through this process, go through it with grace. Go through it having your expectations set the proper way. Don't go in here being a fucking
tyrant.
A tyrant, you know what I'm saying? And you out here just attitude for no damn reason because you feel like you're entitled. If it's that much, then go get a regular loan then, B. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But no, you want this free money, then you got to apply by their rules and regulations and don't be an asshole. So I think NACA, someone asked in the comments earlier, which loan should they do? I guess it was a veteran.
It was a VA or a NACA loan.
So the play is always simple, right? If you can use NACA and you have the time frame to go through it and you're not in a rush, NACA first. Meet your requirements. Then VA, right? Another 100% program with no PMI, right? So you can 4-3, NACA 4, VA 3, FHA 2. And the great thing about the NACA and the VA, you never have to refinance out of them to go for the next loan. Right. So if you do the FHA house economic, shameless plug, house economics in your stores right now, mgbookstore.com, right? So if you do the FHA one, you always got to refinance because you can't use the FHA multiple times. Right. Right? Unless you do a 100-mile rule. Maybe we should do a video on that. How to use FHA twice.
That,
yeah, so maybe we do a video about that. Write that down. How to use FHA loans twice. But you 4-3-2-1, but every time you have to refinance, more closing costs, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're a veteran out there, you have the golden ticket. Yep. Right? You're really the golden child if you're a veteran, because now you can knock your life away first, never have to refinance, get a way below market rate, then go to VA, 100% financing on that 3-family, good rate, not below market, but good rate with no PMI, then FHA, 3.5% down for your duplex, and then your single family conventional loan. You know what I'm saying? And all of these, if you do them right and your timing is good, will all have amazing low interest rates.
Right. I wanted to ask you too with the 4-3-2-1 thing. I get it, but why not tell people just go get 4-4-4-4-4?
It sounds better 4-3-2-1.
Why I'm sitting there like shit? I just want to be a bunch of 4 units.
You know what? That's a very good question. Why not 4-4-4-4 or 3-3-3-3? Yeah. Because sometimes it's difficult to prove that you're going to move from 1-4 family to another 4
it's
family.
Like when you can, like, I need more space, or you need a reason to be able to move.
Exactly.
Because I always wonder when y'all say that, like, why not?
Can it happen? Yeah. If you live in an area like New York or Chicago where multi-families are common, can that happen? Yeah, because I can essentially say, yo, look, I live on the east side, which is a little, but I'm going to the west side now, which is a little better, you know what I'm saying? And from a demographics as a loan officer, I could paint that picture to an underwriter like, yo.
He's trying to improve his life.
He's improving his life. Look at the school districts, the crime rates, it's closer to the job. You can make that kind of work, but that's few and far in between. And this is why I don't really talk. Now, I've had clients, absolutely, because here in New York, we can run a play, you know? Right. But it's hard when I'm speaking from a national perspective.
I get it, because everybody don't even have 4 units.
Yeah,
Everybody don't have
I was
3
about to
units.
say
Some
that.
people only got duplexes, like so.
But then, and if you're gonna duplex your life away, then the 2-2-2-2 might be much easier because
That makes
now
sense.
you're going from one duplex to another, and it might make more sense because. And when I tell people this, if you're gonna stay in that same property class, whether it's a 4, 3, or 2, right? Make sure the next properties are in a little bit better area.
Yep.
The size of your living space is bigger.
Schools better.
Schools maybe be slightly better, right? Maybe it's a little bit closer to your employment or something like that. So that way, from a underwriting structuring perspective, it makes sense because underwriters are not stupid. They're humans. They live in these neighborhoods that we're buying in. Yeah. They're not robots. AI is not fucking underwriting yet. You know what I'm saying? A human is actually going to go to Google Maps and look at your current property and look at this property and see what the hell's going on. This shit happens every day. And the first thing they're going to think in their head is mortgage fraud. You know what I'm saying? So can you get away with doing a 4-4-4-4, 3-3-3-3? 100%. But it got to make both sense and sense at the end of the day. But if you can run that play, hey, run that play all day long. Yeah.
Right, because I was thinking that, but I also was thinking from my perspective. I'm in Chicago, where it's a lot of multi-units, and then I didn't think about it like that. Like you said, it just makes more sense to an underwriter. Like, all right, cool, I need more space, so that may require you to get 3 units this time. All right, I need more space. That may require you, a duplex may give you more space than a 3. Like, it just, so that makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world.
You can run a play crazy. Now, we got almost 400 people in here live. Make sure y'all like this video. We don't have enough likes on this video. I'm very disappointed in y'all today. Y'all not showing my man Drae love. So make sure y'all like the video, please. And make sure you get the Ultimate Home Buyers Webinar on March 11th, March 12th. Go grab it now and then go buy the books. All right? Now, Drae, here's my question for you. Right? Because you're living for free. And the whole topic of this video is using a NACA loan.
To live rent-free.
To live rent-free.
Yes, sir.
How are you living for free right now? Because I know you're not doing long-term tenants at this gesture right now. You moved more towards short term.
Yeah, not all long term. You know, you
have a blend.
You got some Airbnb stuff, and you also have peer space. I make more money off peer space than anything because it's a shorter amount of time.
First of all, hold on. What is peer space?
So peer space is pretty much an app where you can go and rent out space to shoot content, host dinner parties, meetings, etc. And it can be for a short amount of time. Where Airbnb is, you have to rent the place for the whole evening, or 2 days, 3 days at a time. With peer space, it's just a couple hours at a time, depending on how much time that you need. And it can run up a substantial amount of money because let's say you have Airbnb at $500 a night, right? With peer space, if I have $100 an hour and I get 6 bookings in a day, that's $600, and I only used up 6 hours, and I still have my place in the rest of the day to myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then too, another good thing with peer space is you can rent out multiple rooms at the same time. So let's say my main room is $100 an hour. I have my office space as $50 an hour. I have my bathroom at a certain amount, and I can be renting out this space to all 3 different people, making money from all 3 different rooms at an hourly rate, as opposed to it being like you just booked my space for the day.
So how much are you renting out your rooms per hour?
So the main room of the coach house is, I think, $85 an hour. Then you do an extra $50 if you want to do the office space, $50 an hour. You can do stuff like I can let people rent like my cameras and different stuff if they need equipment. Like you can just really run it up with peer space. Like it's crazy the amount of money that you can make in the add-ons and lights and just backdrops that you can just add in addition to the actual space. So monthly, it's about $2,000 off the spot that's being occupied already. Like it's not. So you're making rental income off of a place that you live.
So this property that you're doing peer space is the one that you lay your head in every night.
No, my ex does.
Your ex lays her head in that one, and y'all rent out.
So the 3 units in the front, they already pay the mortgage. So now the house that's being occupied is also making money.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
So you got the long-term tenants that covers the debt,
mortgage, and
all the debt service and all the expenses,
excess.
And then now the peer space is now
excess play money.
And it's making 2 bands $24,000 a year, just based off of people, basically a content house.
Yeah, it's a content house. That's exactly what it is.
Interesting. What are the cons of this?
Sometimes sometimes you might get like niggas in your house.
You get like
niggas,
like goons.
Like goons, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we shoot rap videos and shit. So it's like, I limit the amount of people. I'm like, all right, 6 people. That's including the camera guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't need nobody standing around. I don't need nobody mean mugging. I don't need nobody looking around seeing what they can steal. Like, none of that. I don't need nobody, while you shooting over here, he downstairs putting shit in his pocket. I don't need none of that. So, like, you know, I kind of, like, limit everything. But, like, outside of that, bro, that's the only con. And what I noticed about that is, most time, those guys, they're not on nothing. Like, they rent my space so they don't have to be, you know, in the hood on the south side or whatever. They rent my space as a safe place for them.
Yeah.
So they come in with good energy. They come in with respect. And then not only that, you know, me, like, I'm a real nigga myself. So it's like, they like, nigga, you own this?
Yeah.
Like, you own that house in the building in the front too?
Yeah.
Like, you got the stock, you got CNBC on your TV, nigga. What you do? Who are you?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like, I look like y'all. I talk like y'all. I'm gonna blow the bag with y'all, all that. But I'm gonna also put y'all on game and tell y'all I own this shit. So now, not only am I, you know, making money, but I get to interact with people from my, you know, community. I get to teach them. I get to help them, like, put them on the game. They asking me how I got started in real estate. The NACA program. And you can do it too, bro. I promise you can. So all that money you flashing in the video and all that shit, this is what you do with it. And they just be like, wow.
Interesting concept. So you can basically customize who you want in your house. So if you can basically say, listen, I don't want no rappers.
Yeah.
Basically, no rap,
no music videos.
No rap music videos allowed.
You can set particular subjects like, all right, cool, I want my place to be for dinner parties, I want my place to be for photo shoots, and I want my place to be for meetings. You can, like, have certain things that are on the list and that are not on the list as well. So you have that option. You can limit it, the amount of people that's coming in your space, all of that kind of stuff. So, like, to me, there are really no cons, but I get it. Like, if you a single woman or something, you don't want them kind of guys in your house, regardless of how polite or whatever, or just an uncomfortable feeling. You don't want to be uncomfortable in your house. But for me, like, that's the only possible con that it is. Outside of that, it's legit
But
money.
once you customize your filters and stuff and your settings,
and then
you ain't got to worry about that.
Little stuff. You put cameras in place, little stuff like that. If you're not gonna be there, like, so, it's probably the easiest way to make money. You know what I mean? That I've seen as far as, like, you know, that kind of STR, short-term rental.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now you make it. So this is actually anybody who got any type of house.
You don't have to own your property for this. Like, if you just got a nice apartment or something, like, you can cash flow your apartment and have Peer Space taking care of your rent for you. Like, you don't have to own the place at all. And that's why I teach Peer Space. I'm like, yo, y'all looking for an extra way to make some money? You got a nice crib? You don't mind having people in there for an hour or 2 hours a day? Man, do this shit. Like, it's a way for you to make bread without you having to go out and actually put in physical labor for it. And that's what we all trying to do. How can I make money without having to work for it? This is a great way to do it.
So is there any, like, process for promoting your space so you can get more people? Because you gotta.
I typically don't promote my Peer Space because I don't want just a crazy influx of random people who on my Instagram just trying to come see how my house look, because you will get that, like, you know what I'm saying? But I just kind of, like, let it market itself. I do post behind the scenes because most of the time when people are in my Peer Space, I'm there. So I'm shooting, like, behind the scenes stuff. So I'll post, like, little clips like, man, y'all, I just hosted a Peer Space today, ran up a bag, had this particular artist in the house, you know, so stuff like that. But it's no real way to promote your Peer Space unless you, like, do it, like, you know, like, hey guys, y'all want to come book my Peer Space? Here's the link in my bio, all that. And Peer Space does a good job of that, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're getting bookings or you got a nice space, they'll put you at the top of the list, all that. Like, right now, I'm at Superhost status. You know what I mean? I've got all 5-star reviews, all of that. So they put my property at the top of the list in my area all the time. Yeah, so they do a lot of the marketing for you.
So, on average, what do you think, like, because I know you're making 2 bands, and that's because, is your place rented out every single day? Or
no, it don't even got to be. I don't even have it listed every day.
Like, so with your, all right, so with your $2,000 a month, how often is
maybe half the month?
Half the month that you make it available?
Yeah, about 15 days usually.
15 days, and what hours do you usually have it available for?
I don't typically let it go past 6.
6 p.m.
You know what I'm saying?
So
like,
you
unless somebody,
like
put in a special request, I'd be like, all right, you got to pay extra, you know, $50, $100 for that or whatever. Because, you know, that's the time when, you know, people getting off work, want to come home, be comfortable, start cooking, just like, you know, being in their crib. So it's like, I'll let it go from, like, 10 in the morning to 6 in the evening during the weekdays, and then maybe like 7 to 8 on the weekends.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I be thinking like, man, imagine if this thing was open 24 hours, because a lot of people be hitting me, you know, trying to come do videos like late at night, 11, 12 o'clock at night, stuff like that.
Prime time for that.
It's just like, man, like this place could really, really go crazy, like for real, you know what I mean? But also there's more risk when it comes to late night. People want to come drinking, you know, just like almost like a party type of vibe.
Yeah.
So by me doing it during the daytime, I can kind of like moderate like the kind of people that come, and also like the style of content that's being shot in my space. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a nightlife kind of vibe. It's not like a party scene.
Yeah.
Most of the time I got like cleaning companies, corporate companies coming to like, you know, just shoot video in my kitchen or, you know, stuff like that. Like I get a lot of rappers, but it ain't the ones that's like crazy, obnoxious. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just, it's a really reasonable setup.
And you have it every day?
Not every day. Like I say, usually every other day, roughly. Like I say, about 15 times out the month, 10,
so
15 times a month.
Way more potential to make a lot of money with this.
Way more. If I had more availability, oh yeah, it would go crazy.
Do you know if this is like you can do it anywhere, any state, or it's like
Peer Space is everywhere. Yeah, it's an app. You just go on there, take pictures of your space, upload it, and people start reaching out to you like, yo, I want to book your space. It was to me, it was crazy how fast it started happening because my homie told me about it. So I used to rap and I used to do videos and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And you know, in the budget, when my homie do a video, he would have the space, you know what I mean, included in there too. And we used to be in all these little cool spaces. I'm like, bro, how do you find this place or whatever? He's on a Peer Space or whatever. Then when I got that property, I started doing content in my own property, and he came over there. He's like, bro, like, your shit will go crazy on Peer Space. He's like, matter of fact, can I book your shit, like, to do some videos? I'm like, hell yeah. And that's when I went on there. Like, I took some pictures real fast. I uploaded it the next day. Then the next day, I just started getting inquiries. People like, man, can I book your space? I love it. Like, and it's been running ever since.
Tooks, we about to Peer Space this shit.
Hey, listen, if you Peer Space this, y'all
Tooks,
really,
I'm about to Peer Space
crazy.
this.
Like, if you Peer Space this, you're gonna go crazy.
No. I don't want no energy. Like I'm.
Cause it's nice up in here. You gonna go crazy.
This probably we should just test it. Just like fuck it.
I mean, there's not going to be any music videos in here. I wouldn't shoot a music video in here.
No, this is more just you put on Peer Space podcast.
Yeah, but who's running the boards?
You.
Yeah, see, that's where you lost me.
It ain't gonna be me.
Nah, then it's
I mean, so
expensive
listen, so this is what
okay. So how you expensive?
So how you can do that is add Tooks as a separate charge. Like if you want an engineer, it's gonna cost you an extra.
They cannot come in here without using this.
Oh, so we can run it up then.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or so no. So this is the thing. So Tooks could be on site to monitor, but he's not working. So if you want Tooks to work,
they can't even. No.
No, Tooks got to get paid though.
Yeah.
Tooks got to make. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
like, come on, bro.
We can't. You can't even come in.
the third person.
Nah, they have to come in here. The whole package includes engineer, camera, set, $500 an hour.
And he would go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be $500 an hour, $400 an hour, something like that.
We thought about this already. You just didn't want people, and I agree. You don't want like people thinking it's a whole big.
I still don't.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this for the content purposes. Like we could probably just put it on Peer Space, document it. Like we did one Peer Space because of this video,
and this shit works.
And we made $500.
We could try it though. I just don't want the pictures to be too big because then people will come with their people, or we can have a limit, like he said.
Yeah, just like you can't have no more.
You put your rules on there, and people have to follow the rules.
Yeah, you can't have no more than 3 people total.
No smoking, even though sometimes when they come, if they cool, like, yeah, y'all can smoke or whatever, but I make sure I put no smoking because I don't want y'all standing around burning
Definitely
my shit
can't
down.
smoke in here.
No, of course. So you put that, no parties. If you don't want no alcohol, you can put all of that in the rules. And people have to abide by the rules, and if they don't, like, you still get to keep their money and, like, cancel their booking type shit.
Yeah. I think it'd have to be more of a podcast studio.
Yeah, of course. It would be
rather than
that kind of energy.
Shoot your music video here because
it's too small in here.
Yeah, it's too small in here for that.
Unless it's just like one person coming in with a cameraman and they just doing something in a little tight space.
You
but
can make it work, probably.
No, this would be all podcast studios or whatever the case may be. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, so that's a good way to run up the bag. Okay, I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, why not? I'll try it for one day.
He said one day.
Yeah, just for shits and giggles. Just to see what will happen.
So, Drae, we can go right now, set up a Peer Space, go on the website, and then they ask for your address and all that stuff? Like, how does that work? How's the process go?
So you will go on Peerspace, and you will put my area in. It's called West Bucktown Coach House. It will pop up. You know, you will click the booking, add whatever you want. You want the main room, you want to add the office, you want to do cameras, lights, all that kind of stuff. Then you will send the request over to me, and I will have to go see what it is that you're trying to do. Yeah. How many people you trying to bring, etc. And then I will approve it or deny it.
And then you get the payment comes through, like, after the booking's done.
After that, so the probably an hour after it's done, it lets you know your booking complete. Leave a review for the person. Your payout will be in 2 days.
And then there's fees. Any fees associated with
Yeah, they take a fee. It's like Airbnb. It's like 3 or 4%, something like that.
Oh, so that's not terrible.
Nothing crazy.
That's not terrible at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this. We may have to try to Peerspace this just on the strength. Like, let's see if we can make 2,000 in 1 week.